Three wards were up for grabs on Wednesday. That's Ward 56 in Tshwane, Ward 9 in Mosselbay, currently held by the DA, and Ward 8 in Knysna, where the ANC is leading the pack. Now, like Chris Hattingh said, he's the Executive Director of the CRA. He mentioned this week that every by-election is a national dialogue. So let's hear what the people really have to say. We're a year out from LGE 2026, the local government elections. We're a year into the GNU of the RNE. What lessons are to be learned from all of this? Welcome to In the Voting Booth. I think it's video number 6 or 7. So we're getting there slowly but surely. We'll improve on the sound. We'll improve on the lighting. We'll fix up the stereo. We'll have a decent background. We'll get there. I just first need to understand how YouTube works and how we can utilize that as a social media platform. As you know, we always prepare for our sessions. We also do it on TikTok. So TikTok restricts us to 10 minutes. We do exactly the same video than we do on TikTok, but it's unreserved in time. So it's not limited to the 10 minutes. Let's quickly see here what the scores were or the results. The winner of the day, definitely the PA. And the loser of the day, definitely the ANC. So in Ward 9 in District 43 in the Western Cape, that's Mosselbay, the PA won, and they took the ward from the DA. Voted, percentage-wise, 50.18, and the voter turnout was just over 50%. So not too bad. As you know, I keep track of this results. So the average over the last 320 ward elections since 2021 is about 37%. So a 52% turnout is good. It's good. Let's look at the other one, Ward 48, Knysna. So that was an ANC ward. It still is an ANC ward. They won that. Turnout 51%, or they won, 51%, and the turnout was 53, 54%. Not too bad there. And then Ward 56 in Tshwane in Pretoria, where I still reside. As you know, I am semigrating to the Western Cape come January 2026. This was in Brooklyn. The DA won. They kept the ward. What is worth mentioning here, and I'm going to do another video, my next week's video is going to go in this regard, turnout of 12.16%. Very low. And I'll explain to you why this happens in our next video. So in all three by-elections, the ANC suffered a decline in support. Nearly 50% in Mosselbay, about 14% in Knysna, even though they still won, and then 36% in Brooklyn. So we've recalculated with the lower turnout to get this percentages. The ANC and the DA is pushing for the coalitions bill to be passed before LGE 2026. Surprise, surprise. The focus of this bill is to up the threshold of new parties, 1, to register for elections, and 2, to get a seat in government. It's a bit anti-democratic. I sort of understand why they're trying to do that, so that the very small parties don't become the kingmakers. I'm not sure if I agree with it. In your comments below, please let me know what you think about that. So 2 July is our next by-election. That will be number 346 or 347, Nelson Mandela Bay, there in Port Elizabeth, in Motherwell. So that's black colored area, if I can remember correctly. I haven't been there in a while. So let's see what happens in Port Elizabeth. I'm not even going to try and say the new name. Another big loser, apart from the ANC, maybe let me quickly deal with that. Action SA did not put a candidate forward in Ward 56 in Tshwane. Now in 2021, they got about just over 11% of the votes in that ward. But in 2021, they were centre-right. And now they've gone bonkers, centre-left, attacking white people, telling them they're welcome to leave South Africa. Yes. Again, I don't think they're going to do very well in the next coming elections, so that they are repositioning themselves to get votes from the ANC that's going to collapse. I think the MK party is doing that very well at the moment. In fact, they're also positioning themselves to take votes from the EFF, which they are successfully doing. So I think the chickens are coming home to roost for Action SA, because I cannot see, apart from Athol Trollop and Beaumont, that they're going to get any more white votes in any by-election or next election. You cannot stand for something, get the vote, and then preach a different gospel. They're going to learn that lesson. So yeah, I believe the chickens is coming home to roost. Let's see what happens. I will give feedback on that. And then in the same week, they try and get rid of Dada Modero, the ANC mayor in Johannesburg. And who's the loser there? Action SA. Because the DA fails to remove Dada Modero, but the speaker was voted out. The chickens are coming home to roost. Loved the feedback from the USA, from those three gentlemen that went, Theo de Jager from SAI, Gerard Papenfoes from Nyasa, and Dr. Corne Mulder from the Freedom Front Plus. And the message, very simple. 1. Farm murders must be classified priority crimes. ANC must publicly distance themselves from Kill the Boer, at last. Expropriation subject to fair compensation, and that is why I'm moving to the Western Cape. So I will be the ward candidate in Ward 15 for Cape Exit in Somerset West, so that we can protect property rights. American companies exempted from BEE rules. So that's the 4 things that they want. Let's see what happens. Now, the deadline for the tariffs is a week away. Then we're going to get hit with 31% tariffs, which means job losses of another 200,000 people in South Africa. That's after the first quarter of 74,000 jobs lost. Well done, ANC. Well done. But your end is near. So hats off to these 3 men. I get some comments, especially on TikTok, that people say, why don't you rather try and fix South Africa? Now, Cape Exit is not our first choice. We didn't wake up and say, let's do this. Cape Exit is our last resort. There's nothing left. The bit that still works is the Western Cape. So we cannot save South Africa, no. But we can save the Western Cape. And that's why I'm going to push hard for Cape Exit in the next by-election and national elections. Yeah, I've said here, it's our last resort after 30 years of misrule by the ANC. Not only misrule, corruption, theft, malevolence. Still, even though that they know they're collapsing and at 40%, they do not have the ability to change that, to change direction. Paul Hattingh, I saw a Facebook comment from Paul Hattingh, a random comment, and he said, we need a rebellion, moral, political, and constitutional. And I must say, I agree with him 100%. The other comment that I get a lot on, especially again on TikTok, is you're welcome to leave, white man. Now, Cape Exit is not about white. It's not a white thing. It's pre-political. It's one, protecting the free market system, the rule of law, number two, and the right to own and protect your property. That's what Cape Exit is about. Now, for all those race baiters on TikTok, let me quickly give you some facts. According to Lightstone, in the Western Cape, properties grew to the value of 8.1% for year 2024, whilst the rest of South Africa only grew by 5.2%. Can you see the difference? And that gap is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Here's another stat for you. 38% of all real estate transactions that took place in 2024 occurred in the Western Cape. Now, why do you think is that? So I laugh every time when I get this comment, and there's quite a few. You can go and look at our TikTok page or channel. Here's more stats for you. There are currently, in numbers, more colored people supporting Cape Exit than white people. And in the last poll that they did, 24% of the blacks residing in the Western Cape supported Cape Exit. So in percentage-wise, it's 76% colors, 85% whites, 24% blacks. But in numbers, the coloreds are the highest. So it's not, sir, madam, it's not a white thing. It's about protecting our property, rule of law, Western values. That's what we're trying here. And then I also get a lot of comments from DA supporters that tell me that the Western Cape will never fall to the ANC. I agree with you. I cannot see that happening. Although, from the Eastern Cape, 10, 15, 20,000 economic migrants going from the Eastern Cape to the Western Cape every year. So that might change things over a 5 or a 10-year period. But here's what I want to tell you. There's a good chance that the PA will take you under 50% in the next LGE. And then you need to govern with other parties. And we know how coalition parties or politics are turning out in South Africa. It's a disaster. So be very careful. Be very careful. And then you must also know, DA voter, that only in 9 of the 25 municipalities or suburbs, the DA has an outright majority. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Okay, I must still learn how to put in all the video, the pictures that I do in TikTok, but we'll get there. Just bear with me. SAPS, South African Police Force, Divisional Commissioner for Crime Intelligence, Lieutenant General Dumisani Khumalo, that needs to sort out crime and fraud, is arrested for crime and fraud. Now this gentleman earns, his annual salary is 1.269 million rand. With perks, that goes up to, because he is the divisional commissioner, so that goes up to 1.43 million a year. So it's approximately 120,000 rand a month, but he still feel the need that, you know what, I need to steal a bit more because that is not enough money. That's my story for this week. 2nd of July, we have our next by-election in Nelson Mandela Bay, in Motherwell, there in Port Elizabeth. I'll give you feedback on that, and then all the new information or news for the week. Remember, Ward 15, Somerset West, Cape Exit, LGE 2026. I will be your ward or your candidate for that ward, coming to a door near you very soon.